Okay, so a guy walks into a bar and orders 12 shots. Before the bartender even returns with the check, the guy's slammed half of them back and shows no signs of stopping. As the guy finishes his final shot, the bartender asks, "Why are you drinking so fast?" The guy wipes his mouth and replies, "You'd be drinking fast too if you had what I had." The bartender says, "Why, what have you got?" The guy says, "About 75 pence," and runs off. A lady goes to her doctor for a checkup. The doctor asks her if she's having any problems. "Yes, doctor," she says. "I have to fart a lot. Fortunately, no one can hear them or smell them. In fact, I've farted twice since you came in and they were silent and odourless." The doctor nods and says, "I can treat this problem with an over-the-counter medication and prescription and a referral. The medication will help your body produce less gas. The prescription will help you recover your sense of smell. And I'm giving you a referral to an audiologist to see if they can help you hear better." The best person to borrow from is a pessimist, because they never expect it back. Why do French tanks have rear view mirrors? To see the battlefield. Her. What do you do? Me. I race cars. Her. Do you win many races? Me. No. The cars are much faster. What do you call a cow with 3 legs? Lean beef. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef. What do you call a cow with 2 legs? Yo mama. What's the difference between a musician and a large pizza? A large pizza can feed a family of 4. Why is Peter Pan always flying? He never lands. Why did no one in the king's court laugh when the king farted? Because noble gases don't cause a reaction. What's white and can't climb trees? A fridge. What kind of maths do birds like? Algebra. What do you call a dinosaur with an extensive vocabulary? A thesaurus. Why couldn't the sesame seed leave the casino? Because it was on a roll. What does garlic do when it gets too hot? It takes its clothes off. Why should you never start a conversation with pie? Because it'll just go on forever. What's E.T. short for? Because he's only got little legs. Did you hear about the unemployed personal trainer? He gave his 2-week notice. How does the moon cut its hair? Eclipse it. What do you call a hen that counts her own eggs? A mathemachicken. What are you doing? Did you hear about the mathematician who's afraid of negative numbers? He'll stop at nothing to avoid them. What do you call a cow that can't produce milk? An udder failure. It was a long day at the gates of heaven, and St. Peter was ready to go home. The final man in line walked up. He was a little man wearing a tuxedo which looked like it had been scorched, and he was holding a golden baton. The man's appearance was otherwise unremarkable, but for the gigantic shit-eating smile on his face. "What happened to you, sir?" "I got hit by lightning in the middle of the Fifth Symphony." "Well, that's shocking. I have to ask, why are you smiling?" "I can finally say, screw you, Luther." "Who's Luther?" "He's the first chair violinist, and he hated me." "So why does this affect Luther?" "He always said I was a bad conductor, and now I have proved him wrong, so screw you, Luther." What do cats eat for breakfast?
I don't know.
Mice Krispies. What human body part is long, hard, bendable, and contains the letters P-E-N-I-S? Your spine, you dirty get. What's 18 inches long and hangs in front of an arsehole? Keir Starmer's tie. If it takes 6 men 6 days to dig 6 holes, how long does it take 1 man to dig half a hole? There's no such thing as half a hole, it's just a hole. What do you call a red-headed gentleman from a long line of redheads? Gingerbread man. What kind of dog can stay underwater for a really long time? A subwoofer. Why don't lions eat circus clowns?
I don't know.
Because they taste funny. What do you call a snake that's exactly 3.14 meters long? A python. What's long and hard that a Polish bride gets on her wedding night? A new last name. Cinderella, now 90 years old and Prince Charming being long dead, sat on the balcony of her castle with her cat resting on her lap. Suddenly, the fairy godmother appeared out of nowhere. Cinderella was completely stunned. What are you doing here after all these years?" she asked Cinderella. "Cinderella, you have lived a perfect life. You have never done anything out of malice, and you have had a wonderful life to your husband until his death. Therefore, I am here to grant you 3 wishes. Cinderella thought about it for a good minute. After a while, she said, "I wish for lots of wealth," and she immediately got surrounded by gold coins. "Done," said the fairy godmother. "And your second wish?" "I wish to become young again," said Cinderella. All her wrinkles and warts disappeared, her back straightened up, and she regained all of her youthful energy. "Granted. And your last wish?" "I wish for my cat to become a handsome young man." As she stated her final wish, the fairy godmother vanished, and her cat jumped down to the floor. He then instantly turned into the most handsome man imaginable, at least twice as attractive as Prince Charming. He was so stunning that it felt as if time stopped running and the wind stopped blowing. They looked at each other for a long while before the man bent down towards Cinderella, sensually caressing her smooth skin and whispering with a manly, seductive voice, "I suppose you regret cutting my balls off now." This guy sticks his head into a barber shop and asks, "How long before I can get a haircut?" The barber looks around the shop and says, "About 2 hours." The guy leaves. A few days later, the same guy sticks his head in the door and asks, "How long before I can get a haircut?" The barber looks around the shop and says, "About 2 hours." The guy leaves. A week later, the same guy sticks his head in the shop and asks, "How long before I can get a haircut?" The barber looks around the shop and says, "About an hour and a half." The guy leaves. The barber looks over at a friend in the shop and says, "Hey, Bill, follow that guy and see where he goes." In a little while, Bill comes back in the shop laughing hysterically. The barber asks, "Bill, where did the guy go when he left here?" Bill looks at him and says, "To your house." Someone stole my wife's credit card the other day. I still haven't reported it though, because they're spending a lot less than she does. What did the woman with no hands get for Christmas? No idea. She hasn't opened a present yet. I threw a boomerang a few years ago, and now I live in constant fear. I thought opening a door for a lady was good manners, but she just screamed and flew out the plane. So my marriage counsellor asked me, do I generally wake up grumpy in the morning? I said, nah, I usually let her lie in. To teach my kids about democracy, I let them vote on what we were having for dinner. They wanted tacos, so I made pizza. Where did Joe go after getting lost in a minefield? Everywhere. I just made a website for orphans. Doesn't have a homepage though. What's the difference between a Lamborghini and a dead body? I don't have a Lamborghini stuffed in my wheelie bin. Ha! I think fireworks have been let off this year way too early. So early, in fact, that my cat was so scared it ran up our Christmas tree. Little Johnny was late into class one morning and the teacher asked, "And what have you been doing to be so late, Johnny?" "I've been shoving fireworks in the arse of frogs, miss." "Johnny, it's rectum." "Too right, it rectum." Did you know that you can get a day in jail for using illegal fireworks? It's a pretty light punishment. Why don't they have fireworks at Euro Disney? Because every time they shoot them off, the French try to surrender. Paddy's firework party was a complete disaster. "I don't understand it," he said. "They all worked fine when I tried them yesterday." If you have 6 oranges in one hand and 8 bananas in another, what do you have? Big hands. Police arrested 2 kids yesterday. One was drinking battery acid, the other eating fireworks. They charged one and let the other one off. I was in Tesco's and I saw this man and woman wrapped in a barcode. I said, "Are you two an item?" Why couldn't Captain America find Thor's brother? Because he was low-key. Why were the teacher's eyes crossed? She couldn't control her pupils.